Hello listeners, this is Mazola, the lover boy. I'd like to invite you to this exciting program. It is called Dancing for Jesus. It is intended to play beautiful inspirational music to help you turn your life to God. Join me on every Sunday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is our way of showing appreciation to God for the good things He has done for us and continue to do. Don't miss this opportunity. Join Mazola Gizi on every Sunday from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the program Dancing for Jesus. Please be there because I will be here to rock it out for you. Do you want to share your events with the world? Why not contact us? We are LIBERIA Public Radio, LPR. We are the specialists in advertisements, commercials, radio and TV services. We have the professionals that can help you sell your products and provide live coverage of all events such as weddings, conventions, graduations, reunions, anniversaries, sports, birthdays, baby showers, religious activities, funerals, and many more. Take your phone right now and call any of the following numbers: 682-433-8802, 267-648-6089, 484-786-3337, or 916-533-2048. Our customer service representatives are waiting to take your calls and give you the needed assistance. It is LPR, the home of excellent media services, and your friends in business.
I am your host and presenter, Francis and Salt, right here from the New England Bureau in this edition here tonight. Thank you for being here. And as usual, just hit the share icon and invite someone at your company. If this is the first time, we say you are wholeheartedly welcome to this network. You can follow us simultaneously both Facebook and YouTube. That's our YouTube handle. That's LIBERIA Public Radio. Just search that and you will get us live as well. Good evening. Mr. Chia is in the house. Natanya Chia. Boss is here. Nira is here. Johnson, Israel. Jabate is here. Rebecca Cabo is here. We say good evening. Thank you so much. Phoebe Gigo is here. We say thank you so much for being here. Rose, just hit the share button and invite someone at your company, and we will be having a conversation. Lab been unfolding and the interpretation, the understanding how people are processing the informations, all that factoring in. And so we hope to have our site and different versions. Our crew was also embedded with the marshal. Those with tire, what was it? No more drugs. Okay, so we're going to have that conversation here this evening. And I'm sure some of the analysts are going to join us here because we have some guys here, a lot of tabbing ongoing. People having it here, their own interpretations with respect to their entitlement. But what I am interested in now is the action part of all of this here. It doesn't matter how many matches we go through this rain or shine. The policy aspect is more or less important. That is very key, that is very consequential, and that's what we should be talking about now. They have done their part. Those that are in charge of policy that drive the policy, the agenda as to how this can be executed. It's not a new thing. It's not a new thing. So it's a very, very, very serious problem. So I was looking at some information coming from the Council of Foreign Relations. It's very, very much alarming and scary. And so we need to be more or less action-oriented. We need to be pragmatic. We need to have hands on deck. We need to put things into actions. Let it be seen, let it be visible, not in an abstract context, but a concrete, so we will see it and feel it. That is very, very much important. And we're going to be having that conversation here. If this is the first time, we say you are wholeheartedly welcome. There's a tradition here. There's another guy who is more liberal on this network. The most liberal on this network. He has his own ally who, for whatever reason, on the other side of the world, they have their own interpretation, even if it is bad. They try to reconstruct the crime scene because they try to be more political in doing their thing, and that's not who we are. I'm one of those who do not believe in big government, too much of spending. But one of the person here, more or less, we share we have an ideology, and that's what the political parties in Liberia do not have. They do not have a political ideology. They are all driven by whatever some reason. But Mr. Robert Zango is here joining me. We're going to have a conversation, our own side, our own opinion, our own take. What is happening in Liberia? So let me just bring in here. Right here, he's been more patriotic. You see the flag of Liberia is right behind him. That clearly shows we're going to have a great conversation here this evening as usual, and not to just only entice you because we want to entertain you. Let MC Carol and the, how you call them, J-Ball, let them do their own thing. Let us do it. Let allow people, right, Mr. Zango, people in that have their expertise do theirs, and we play our part because that is all Liberia is all about. Mr. Zango, good to have you here. Good evening. So welcome.
Nice to be back. Nice to be back. I've been away for a while, but I appreciate your invite.
Yeah. You know, today I had to push the liberal at all levels because I don't know why this guy, I'm not going to waste my time on him. I'm not going to validate. He and his reverend, they try to hijack this network to have it gone in their way. So when you do not speak the language, the tone that places his desire, because he wants to regulate people's way of doing things. That's not who we are. We believe in people's civil liberties, and we will stand up for that. How are things so far?
Things are okay. Things are okay. We thank God for his magnificence, but we're still alive.
We're still alive. Okay. So news is all about what is happening, what becomes the conversations about. We want to take it into different perspective here and see what is happening. What you think, me and our onliners as well. Feel free to tweet your comments, your suggestions. You should be actively engaged. Don't bother, you can call me whatever you want to call me, because we call people names. So we also anticipate that people are going to call us that name. Not a big problem. But let me just shoot this video here. These are images and footage that, in the last day or so, has become the talking point in Liberia, which is no strain. Our legislative reporter, James Kaba, was embedded with the protester. And let's take a shot.
So folks, we'd like to welcome you to this is Liberia Public Radio Online Television. We are live here at the grounds of the Capitol Building in Central Monrovia. Today, the stores of Liberia.
Where are you on the
these 3 children you're talking about, are they all born children?
Yeah, 3 children. They're born children. All on the street.
There how many?
I got 24 years old.
24 years old?
I got 23.
23?
I got 18.
18?
Yeah,
They're your last children?
I'm a last one.
And they're your hope that you are depending on?
Yeah, I'm at home.
How long? You want the government to come?
Yeah, the government come to my rescue. I got all the pictures.
How long they been on the
We are saying this, we want our government to come, let the government come. That citizens of the country are crying, are calling on their government to perform, to execute their constitutional responsibility. By the way, we should not be telling government to handle these things, to do these things, but when things are falling behind, we got to get this going here. Moses, are you properly situated? I'm not sure where you are.
No, but brother, so I just wanted to come in to let you know that I'm traveling to Jersey for a funeral. You know our boy Abba 9, the greatest number 9 in the Republic.
Abba 9? What
Former
happened?
football player.
Abba 9 passed away?
Yes,
Yeah.
tonight and the funeral is tomorrow. So I'm on my way there. And it's been to request your indulgence for us to literally talk about this rally and get some solutions to what the problem is when it comes to the drugs in that country.
Let's do a favor. I think I know you coming from the law enforcement background.
Specifically for that, I would really appreciate it.
So I'm not sure. Are you driving?
Yeah, I'm driving now. I'm going to call to tell you if you can please accommodate us for one show on the drug thing, so that at least we can articulate some of the ideas and what some of the solutions are and what people have done in other places to be best practices. Because you cannot eliminate drug problems. I don't care how supernatural you are, how rich your country is, and we just by the United States and other well-developed countries. But what you can do is find solutions to try to minimize it and to correct some of those issues. And it would take an holistic approach. It's not the government responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility to talk about the drugs in East Liberia. So I would like you to please indulge us to just discuss that, just have the topic for a whole show one day next week.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, I mean, the match is over more or less. I will be focusing on the policy side, which is very good. The citizen has done their part. The policy side now is with the heads of different institutions, what they are, how will these things be executed? Or are we just going to be having these matches and the end result, we do not use something? But I would really, because I know you're driving and it's a safety issue, because you also want your audience to hear you and perhaps to engage you. So there's going to be an ongoing conversation. I'm making phone calls to talk to a lot of people and to bring them here.
Therefore, and we can apply in our culture to begin.
All right.
And about it.
Yeah. So after your whatever, I'm kind of shocked. For I don't know how that news. The other one missed me with the Abba 9 issue, but too much just going on. So let's find time when you are properly situated for us to have that conversation.
Yeah. Let me say hi to my brother.
Oh my.
How you doing, my brother? I'm having problem hearing you.
Yeah, so yeah, the research rooms, the video uploading, we just want to be kind of very respectful to the audience. But drive safely, and let's have a conversation when you set it out, okay?
Thank you, and I'll listen to the show.
Okay, then. Thank you so much. That's the commitment of folks on this network. No matter how they find their the positions of themselves, they always want to be heard. Okay, Mr. Zango, let's get to the conversation here. I don't know why I missed it one. Wow, Abba now?
Yeah, he died. He died, what's it, 2 weeks ago or something like that.
Oh, the legend.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right, may his soul rest in peace. Okay, let's get to the conversation here. You saw that image. Uh, that was a lady. We're calling on our government. Not their government, our government. She did not remove herself. She's a citizen, assume she's a Liberian, I assume, and she said, we're calling on our government, calling on the government to perform her constitutional responsibility. Let me get your initial reaction with this whole thing here, because sometimes it just, these matches here and there, we tire suffering, bring back our money. Enough is enough. The guy who led the entire with tire suffering now is no longer suffering. He is a special envoy now at the United Nations. 75,000 United States dollars went missing. I don't know how conclusive that investigation became, but later on, now no more suffering. So they're okay now. They don't want to be part of this sort of drumming and all of those kind of things.
Of course, of course.
So yeah, this is a very difficult thing to talk about, because we kept having these conversations over and over, and not just only this government, past government. And it is alarming, the information that I gather from the Council of Foreign Relations when it comes to this drugs issue. It is very, very, very serious. How our government, how we are processing the thing is very, very, is but let me get your instant reactions as a Liberians. No
Well,
more. It's not just about saying it. So we wanted in the past, who allows it? How we got to this point that is so astronomical, that is bent, is just over the roof.
well, Liberia has always had a drug infusion issue. It's just that back in the day, people didn't talk about it a lot. But growing up, we all have friends who smoke marijuana and did some other stuff, But the whole issue of drug has gone to a different level, that it has drawn the attention, finally drawn the attention that it deserves. But however, my take on this thing is there are countries beyond the United States or the Western countries who have proven to be very effective in their drug control. Saudi Arabia, for example, you don't hear much about it. Now, I'm not saying that the people don't do it, but they seem to have it under control. Why? Because their laws, some people may say their laws concerning drug are very draconian. Well, our people in the church like to say fire for fire, right? I don't know what our drug laws are. How many persons know if a person has been arrested for the transportation, for the sale, for the solicitation of drug, what legal penalty there is? I don't think anybody really know. So this idea of getting in the street and say no to drugs, man, we heard that slogan when back in the 1980s when Ronald Reagan's wife was around. That's nothing new. I think at this point, what the government needs to do, and when I say the government, I'm talking about the government holistically, the administrative branch, the legislative branch, and the judiciary. They need to come up, especially originating from the legislative branch. They need to come up with laws that are very clear, very succinct, with what the penalties will be, how much time one should be put in jail for soliciting, for sale, for purchasing these things. Now, if someone wants to make a political, I don't know what the benefit is. People can always point to one administration versus the other and say, well, they didn't do well, that didn't do well. That's going to be the common denominator. I'm sure Samson and his acolyte going to come up with, because they want to praise everything. But at the end of the day, I think that members of the legislature should really go into forming laws that may be somewhat draconian. If I have family members in Liberia who suffer from it. I have a friend out here whose son is in Liberia. He suffered for many years from it. So it doesn't hurt. I mean, it's hurt all of us. You know, affected all of us, our family members, one way or the other, our friends. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think the stand, if the government is serious now, forget demonstrating in the street. Because after a day or two of demonstration, everybody will go back to the daily hustle, right? But I think that the law, there should be formulation of laws or rules or regulation that says if a person has been caught with both possession, this is exactly what should happen. No bond, including serious jail time. And I'm not talking 1 year, 2 years here. I'm talking if you're 20-year-old and you're involved in that situation, you realize that you will not be coming, you'll not be seeing the light of day until for the next 20, 30 years, you may think twice about it. If you're going to hop on the plane and bring it from whatever country you want to bring it from into my country, come on, man. The law should be in place that it will be worse for you. And honestly, let me go back to this. I think many years ago during the Ellen Saliva administration, the issue of death penalty was taken off the table. I think there was some external pressure that caused us to take the death penalty off the table. I think that should come back on the table now. You know, some people may argue, well, yeah, we can give them rehabilitation. Yeah, but there are many ways to skin a cat. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. So while the laws should become draconian, I think that there should be rehabilitation taken into consideration. There should be some policy prescription be put into place where everything will kind of become synchronized. And I think that's a better way that'll be better for the betterment of our society.
So if you look at the thing, if you look at the whole process here, more or less, is the citizenry are the victims of this. If I see a mother dead and crying, tearing up because her child, other people, and it's a very hard thing because first and foremost, it's a quick money making thing. You get what you can get in a very split second here. The fight of these drugs here, where does it start from? Who all should be part of this process? It's not like they get a typical Liberian parlance, one finger cannot pick a lice, right? But it has to be pragmatic. It has to be visible. People have to see what is happening here. Let's look at from previous and past history where we have come from to get us to this point now that people are now compelled to jump in the get industry and say no. Have our government done enough? Or are they the same people based on some of the informations and endless investigation not much being publicized? Are they the facilitators of this because they want to get what they want to get? And for example, we saw what happened. The former chief of protocol, even the boycott, the arm of government that should be in the fight. We will hold all kinds of things, whether it is true or not. The case, they are a little unsettled, have a peaceful settlement, and who saw how everything went down the hill. Is government having strategy? Is there any strategy? Do we have the resources? It's not just say, oh no, no to drug. No, these are just words that you deploy, slogans or whatever that you use, but the finishing aspect is more or less. That's the policy aspect. Based on what you are saying, is GOL from time to time in memory, are they doing enough to get this thing to nail it once and for all?
I don't think they are. I really don't think they are because I don't think there has been such emphasis that has been put on it like we saw today, right? It has always been a local thing. This young man, this young lady, and her friends sit in the corner and do their little thing. And we started to see what they call them zombies walking around, smoking kush. Kush is actually meth. Something that's been in the US for many years. Talking about the zombie drug. But you asked a very good question. Where did it start from? It's been around Liberia for years. I think it became exacerbated during the Weir administration. Well, it started to go up during the war, but I think it became exacerbated during the Weir administration. 'Cause I heard now some people can call in to kind of counter me on this. Remember, there was a time that there was a former saloon chief of police that was in Liberia, and he somehow overnight was just sent back to Sierra Leone, and many people were asking why. Now, if my brother, the security man, was here, he probably would address this. Somebody who was related to somebody in the executive mansion was arrested in Sierra Leone. And so that's why you had that change. The person arrested in Sierra Leone was bringing drugs. That's why he had that switch change overnight. So it is at all levels. It is at all levels. And it would take everybody collectively, including the legislature, to do their job. Create draconian laws. The administration must become more effective in enforcing those laws. You write about one thing. Drugs is a very lucrative business. You know, the kids on the street here say if you're making 100% profit in drug, you're in the wrong business. That is the profit margin. If you're making if you got $1, you invest the drug and you make $2, you're in the wrong business. Your profit margin should be tremendously more than that. That is the attraction. And what attracts the younger people? Excitement. It's exciting to look cool. It's exciting to look at that man. He did my man the care. They all the got this. It's with all the in the excitement, but they don't fully understand or have an appreciation for the side effect of these things. They're long-term side effect. I mean, how many of us were in our teenage years were thinking that, you know, we're thinking about 50 years or 60 years old? We thought that was that time way ahead. We didn't think about it. But our people today in this world, I know a lady who passed a few years ago. Her entire body broke down her. She was doing crack. She stopped doing crack, but she continued to smoke marijuana. Eventually, she had a massive heart attack. So there's a long-term effect for the use of these things. And people should look at this thing beyond the slogan, the walk around the street. Yeah, that has its place. It has drawn this attention. Now, what are the policies that's going to be put out? What kind of legislation is going to be put out? You know, and we need that to happen now. Don't wait for it to die down. You have the momentum. Go ahead.
And I hold policymakers are responsible of all of these things that is happening because their lack of political will, like you said, Tara, just hold on 1 second. I'm going to bring you in. Let me just get this adjusted here. Let me bring in our senior analyst, Tara Collins, is based in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Waiting for the other men to come. They come in one by one.
They come in. They will not. The other men will not come. Let me see, Gerald. I'm not sure, Gerald. But let me see. Maybe Gerald can get a link to you if you have the time. Tara, good to have you guys. Just give me 1 second. Let's see what I can get a link there to Cummings if he has the time to join us here. Because what the Liberal sanctioned him yesterday is quite amazing. The Liberal sanctioned him because the Liberal, when you're talking and if it doesn't go your way, I mean his way, forget it. So Cummings, I'm sending this to you here. So Terry, good to have you here. This is I'm not a fan of this sort of exhibition, showcase, say no to this. I like to see action being performed. And it is disappointing government in the present, in the past, has not done enough. There is nothing within the curriculum, first and foremost, to get that outreach, to invest a lot into it, to protect the generations of tomorrow. We sit down, we see it, and I can say for sure, the politicians, they like to see this thing happen because they do not want aggressive, they do not want progressive generation. It puts their job at stake. But let me bring in Terry here. Terry, we're going to treat you equally. We're not going to behave like you and your guy. When somebody calls in, then he gives them 2 seconds and black people and all of that, and the Reverend is doing nothing to intervene. That is okay, but we're going to
I'm
have
praying. I'm praying for him.
you are?
I'm praying for him.
Praying for him.
You're praying. You see, all of y'all, there are things we're supposed to do to have issue resolved. Then you say we should go pray. I don't get it. You heard what you're saying, Mr. Zango? We should pray.
Yeah,
What,
he's a,
what,
he's
what,
a
We're praying for
leader
Libra
want
at
to God.
least.
He's a leader
what
want
you
to
pray for
God.
him? Where my knee, I have a knee problem. You can pray. You the spiritual man, you can pray. But on a serious note, Terry, you saw the match. Women tearing up. Our group, they were there. But my argument now is the policy aspect. Are they willing to have that implemented, to have that supported, to get the resources? And I've said that over and over. Senators, representative, one bed, get 2, 3 bedroom here, and they say they get rehabilitation center. Come on, this is joking. The process of healing, we all know in this field and different things, it's a very long process. Addiction is something that is very difficult to deal with. It requires resources, support, and it's not that kind of type here. So is it time now for the government to act? And I was happy when the whole thing started. People were taking drug tests and this and that. One would share their shoulder arm, left hand, right hand, and give it whatever injection, whatever IV or whatever it is. We don't even know what the outcome of that, what it was, how many persons needed help, how many persons don't. We don't know the statistics. It says only focus on Morovia. What becomes the rest of the country? The thing is all over the place. How can government wage an effective campaign against these drugs?
Well, I think, Mr. So at least we took the test as compared to other guys.
You see,
But yeah, the thing.
you see, this is what this is what kind of pains me at least. This sort of Lone Star where we did where. When you're supposed to beat the game, you don't beat the game, then you did where because referee cheated you. You should have had a penalty. We didn't get a penalty. So that is why you're bringing here. At least you took the test. What was the test? What was the result? How many person need help? Is that all just exhibition you were doing?
But also, did well is the people that can do well are people who are in the parameters of doing well. What I mean by that is that the people who can be on top of team and win trophy for soccer game and dinner, that are people who prepare very well to win. They got investment, they bought new players, they brought in professional players on the field. But Liberia don't have that. So we will always be in the day wear class. We can never progress from out of day wear class. That's why no matter what you do, Liberia lose that thing will always be in win day wear trophy. But you are right in a sense. Should we progress from this level? Certainly. Mr. Azango said it, I was listening to him when I was coming. Is that it's a fight that involves everybody. It's not a fight that will involve one group of people. The government does not. The government alone cannot fight this. But yes, the government can and the government must because it is their responsibility to fight it. But do they have the resources to fight it? I doubt it. So how do we fight it? It has to be a nationalistic fight. And, Mr. So, the government can use the little they have to fight drugs in Liberia because Liberia is a small country. But I think they are not doing more to fight it. That is where I would want to agree with you a little bit. And how can they fight it? Publicity. Get the people involved, put some money into the media, let the media run with the news, let it go all over the country, do placards, billboards, educate the people by telling the people, hey, anybody who have if you got a house, you renting to a drug law or a drug dealer, you will be held liable for the crime that drug dealer, that you know, if the drug dealer is going to be found guilty of the crime of selling drugs, you yourself will be found guilty too. You tell people, if you have a taxi or a car, you coming driving to Monrovia, and you do not check, because sometimes those immigration, those guys at the border there can let those drugs pass in. But you, the taxi driver, if you don't make sure of the load, and that vehicle get arrested for drugs, you will be held culpable to the crime that the drug dealer is going to be held culpable to. So
Okay.
if you begin to put this mechanism into place by giving publicity, the citizens themselves will protect themselves against drugs.
Okay, talking about publicity, that's something we're going to come to because this other dumb who you guys sent to ERBCs put a crazy tweet, which is you can't even try that with Taylor, and I'm quite sure Helen Johnson said you out of job. LBS will continue to, or not, will not do a live on. Okay, LBS will continue to cover Mika Liberia press briefing, except that there will be no live TV, radio, or live social media unless it is paid for. We're going to come. This is so ridiculous. It is absurd. A government state-run media institution, you who's supposed to enhance government agenda, especially with all of this thing that we're talking about that you got to pay for it. We're going to come to that. But you mentioned something, transportation. And before I bring in Mr. Dazango, I came across a video, courtesy of DNS television. It was profound. Let's watch it and we have a conversation.
Discover something in this door, in the car door. You are going to take it off. You want to know what is inside. What is going to do? What is going to do? You don't know your car. You put it there, right? You put it there. You put it there. Right? Right? Take it off. Now open our timber. You are authorized.
Here we are. Courtesy of DN's television code, they captured that, I believe, either coming from Bull Waterside, whatever it is. This is unbelievable.
I saw that video yesterday.
Yeah.
I saw it yesterday. Go ahead.
With this here, and that guy, he's a Kunapo collaborator. Because what he's saying is annoying. That's why I like, if I can be a military or paramilitary person and they would disrobe me, I would be discharged, because that kind of person with that kind of thing coming out of him up, that really good slap. Maybe his rights would be violated. The men ain't giving fertilizer. Is that where you can put fertilizer? That they the one open that door? Is that no? He is a chief facilitator of that. He you to pay with. But Mr. Zango,
Mhm.
how do we have the capacity? Is the government of Liberia prepared, willing to make resources? And I don't agree with Terry. We don't have money. We do. These people that make crazy 15,000, 20,000, some of these funding should be directed to rehabilitation, counseling, addiction treatment center, different thing. This is where professional needs to come in to rescue the country. They have the money. They make a law to give themselves big bonuses, check, but they neglect the responsibilities of the country. And they say they don't have money. They do. They have money. I don't buy into that. They have money. They have it. They have money. Let me hear you.
Well, a couple of things by looking at that video. And like I said, I saw the video yesterday, so I was fortunate enough to. The sound on this one there isn't clear, but I heard it yesterday. There are a couple of factors that can come to mind. Firstly, you have, I assume there are members of the LDA that arrested the gentleman and confiscated his car. One of them said, we discovered something. And my question is, how do you discover it? I'm not a lawyer, but we got to make sense, right? How do you discover it? Do you have drug dogs, which is coming over where we live? How do you discover it? My assumption here is that they were able to discover it from human intelligence, meaning somebody told them, you see that car that's going, they got something in the door. So that's how they were able to stop the driver, arrest the driver, put him in custody, and then proceed to dismantle the door and take out the drugs, right? In other countries, they may have drug dogs that sniff, and you know, when you go to the airport, you see all these things, sniff the car and get that. The second thing is the gentleman started to say what he had to say. You know, somebody told him was what, but that's cocaine. That's processed cocaine you are looking at. If you look at it closely, it's like it look like flour that you put water on in that, you know, taken up like that. That's cocaine. Obviously, I was talking about this. What I was talking about earlier, you are transporting an illegal drug over the border. That's a transnational crime. You bring it into the borders of the Republic of Liberia, you get arrested. Who is your supplier? Where did you get it from? Not what country, but who did you get it from? And then there needs to be an international coordination between governments or agencies that can dig further into this. How was the drug secured? Was it secured? We see the video, and we see this video because we knew this demonstration was coming today, right? So everybody trying to make their impression known. I mean, shown. But that's a good thing. We see it. I think the government needs to invest into some other sources besides human intelligence. Maybe if they can bring drug dogs. And again, when you bring things like drug dogs, there has to be a maintenance of them. They have to eat the right food. The training has to be consistent. The dog cannot just get sick and then turn into issues in Liberia. You know what I mean? What we call issue in Liberia. And so forth. They're laughing, you know. And then there are a lot of things that can come to play. But again, draconian laws. This gentleman looked like he was 20-something years old. If this gentleman know that he could go to jail for the next 20 years of his life and his family, nobody will see him for the next 20 years, he'll come on here 40 or 50 years old, he would think twice about coming to Liberia. Let him go ahead and then undo the ban or whatever law they made against capital punishment. A certain percentage, a certain quantity of drug that being imported by individuals into the country is subject to capital punishment. People think 2 or 3 that you don't care what happened in the Middle East. The moment you get your drug, you dead man walking. That's why they don't have that problem. That's why they don't have that problem. So we need to look into all these kind of things besides just a demonstration and whatever else they're doing right now. But lady is right. It's a tragedy. Our country has to be dealt with.
So to that point here, Terry, do we need sort of some radical changes into the drugs laws in the country to be kind of enforced? There's a Liberian, I think, lady or girl, you the same, I think, 10 or whatever years imprisonment who took drugs to UEA and stuff like that. But there are so many factors responsible. You know, it's just not a one layout. There are things needs to be done. Government, national government needs to invest, needs to get help, need to, those that are even combating this law, wages need to be attractive. If I'm working for something, if I'm getting good money paid for, it's a risk thing because sometimes they go do raiding. There can be exchange of gunfire. Sometimes they die because the drugs did it. It's a very tough thing. So now a policeman who may be making what 200 or I don't know what's the standard for it now, 200 or 150, and they know if they do one or two, so you get thousands of dollars. They prefer to take the risk to do that because they're going to get triple times what they're going to get even at the end of the month, which is they are not even sure of getting. It's not a justification, but when you get a standard for these things, that if you are caught, you know, you're going to be disconnected with your family for the life of your loan, you know, put you somewhere and say, okay, we're going to keep you there because of this sort of careless decision, this sort of behavior that would not be condoned. Is it time now that we come to this point here? Because let me get this out. Then according to the Council of Foreign Relations, by 2050, about 14 million African countries will be badly, if nothing is done, will be badly infected when it comes to this year. And it comes to other consequences. Now, Ghana used to be one of the, but Ghana now, according to them, Ghana has taken more steps. Created some laws that if you are caught, you're going to be in big time trouble. Now they catch you today, the next day, then they see you in Bikana or Kema or somewhere down in Sano there, because these people, it's an organized crime, you know.
Right.
Can we get that? Can we get that done?
Well, Mr. So you gave some very important points here, and those have your point have to do with poverty, right? Or security personnel can be making 150, then he sees the opportunity to make 1,500, and he know he got to pay his rent, he got to send his children to school, and he's not going to take that chance. So the Liberia becoming a drug hub for drug dealers is as a result of Liberia being a poor country, and it's just like Sierra Leone as well. So drugs will fester in these various countries because of the economic status of the country. And it's just going to be, because like what Mr. Azango said, you don't have drug dogs to hunt the drug, and sniff it and all of that. Like in America here, those guys, those cops, they drive behind your vehicle. And as they're driving behind your vehicle, they got the computer system, they're running your plate. They can tell exactly just from in the vehicle based upon the technology, whether if you even driving a car that is not supposed to be on the road, a car with all insurance or everything. This is how you even can track down criminals or somebody who is, bringing drugs into areas and things. So you got to first have the technology to be able to fight it. Then you also have to have the economy, all right, to be able to fight it. What is leading people to taking drugs? Most of the people in the country are traumatized. Many people don't have jobs. People feel weak in mind. So as a result, they go to take drugs to forget about the problem. So if you are going to fight drugs, you have to fight it holistically from all fronts. And I think this is where we stand at the moment. A march cannot fight it. A protestation one day, people wear black and jump all over the place. It is not going to solve it. We need a radical approach, and we need the president and the Senate and the House to put stringent laws to be able to tackle some of these things. The stringent laws are good, but it's not sufficient. The economy is at a standpoint that needs a robust action to boost the economy so that the people can be able to afford their daily needs, so that it will help them to avoid getting involved with crimes. Otherwise, we will not only be dealing with drugs, we will also be fighting high level crimes in the soonest possible time. Like the other day, they just arrested, I think for the first time in Liberia, a armed robber that tried to arm rob the bank. All right, to Echo Bank. I think Echo Bank, one of the branches, he went in there with arm. You see, and as according to information, this guy is educated, but because he's frustrated that he don't have a job and blah blah blah, he going into armed robbery. So think about what will happen. You're talking about 2050, Africa, several countries affected by drug, but think about what will happen if we go into high crimes like bank robbery, you know, and all those kind of things. What will happen to our country? That is concerning.
Yeah, what will happen to our country? So, Mr. Azango, and then this brings into questioning sometimes government strategy to prosecute to fight these things. I feel is not comprehensive. It's not enough. They do not input in time. They do not put in resources, because if you are to get help from donors, from international community, you have to come with figure. You got to know where to start, how to go about doing it. It's the same with this Liberian diaspora conference that are taking to Washington, D.C. How many person can go? How many person will go to Washington, D.C.? When you are disconnected with the actual people, the today's Liberian people, the actual people that are affected, and you just grab people because someone, yes, his speech was great. It touches on everything. It addresses everything. Does that now give him the authority to be the head of it because he's an eloquent, good speaker? I don't think so. All right, you have your right one here. Is the head. How many times he had a meeting with people in there? This is how people, the misplacement, misdirection, the direction of getting things done is not helping us. Now, having that kind of protest, I'm wondering, they got new ambulances and everything. If you're serious, you have to be illustrative in doing your thing in real time. How many persons were picked up in the street during a police or maybe drugs specialists, mental health people? How many persons were picked up in the street? This guy here, this lady here needs help. She needs to be taken to a treatment center. She needs to go through rehabilitation. How many persons were picked up? You have to be pragmatic. You're not just saying that, you're not just want to do it. The action has to be performed. When you do that, then people take you to be serious. But when all people, man, everybody just jump in the street because this sort of dancing thing is also used to all, and the same people who are not doing anything about nothing, giving them these big petitions and and this, that, they take it. So don't mind the people, man. They will try to get tired. Don't mind what Mr. President said, and we'll receive it. That is not happening. That's the kind of resources. That's what I want to see. It's just not all about the action part, the finishing of things, the implementation is very key, and that's what we don't do. How many times we have not had speeches, we tire suffering, bring back our money. What the other one here? Enough is enough. What else we say? What else do we need to do? What kind of code that we have not used to demonstrate our concern, our grief, but yet nothing is being done? I think there should be some austerity measures that government should take, and that those measures should start within their set. Let the cat start eating their own baby. The police, the DEA, some lawmakers, top people who are chief facilitator. These people, people should start going after them. Where these things coming from? The source. If we cannot contain the root cause of that, and we just want to address it on the surface, then we're wasting our time.
Well, here's the thing. There are two things here. For me, there's an old saying in politics that say all politics is local. People understand that from a electoral standpoint or from politicking, so to speak. But I'm a strong believer in the words of the late Booker T. Washington. And his words were drop your bucket down where you are. We like to run to international donors for solution when we have the solution in our own country. We don't need international donors to form laws. The laws we have right now, we know they're weak. Like this young man, the video just showed, this young man get arrested, he go through the process. He needs to be, an example need to be set on him. We have the history, we have the precedent. Let me give an example. I'm old enough to remember the time when Harman issue was a big issue in Liberia. So I'm sure you probably old enough to remember that time. When the late President William Tolbert came into power, what did he do? He had my Sunday brothers showing his sign. Remember when adding Yancey case, that case out of Maryland County?
Mm-hmm.
What did Tolbert do? He set the example. They were arrested, they were prosecuted, and they were executed. You think they didn't have the connection to the Masonic craft, the relationship in the government? But Tolbert said no, because he understood that the benefit of the nation was paramount. And so after he did that, what happened? The Harman business went down. There was another situation where, in fact, there's a story of somebody I know, I won't call his name. What the late president was doing was he was setting an example. If you kill, you will get killed. If you commit a crime, you'll do the time or you'll get killed. That's a message he sent out. So there's a fellow I know who he told me the story. He said there was a fellow who was messing with his wife, and he met the people in the action in the garage. He had a gun. He took out his gun. He was about to shoot the man, and he said, if I shoot that man, Widow will kill me. He put the gun away. He shot somewhere else, and the boy ran away. But the point being made is that he thought about a crime he was about to commit before that made him go another way. The same thing was happening now. Tolbert didn't need donor money to do that, to start executing people. He didn't need donor money. I remember back in the day when people were doing, we're talking the 70s now, when there was a time when he used to get people on BTC, Saturday morning. You in jail for stealing or committing kind of thing, to give you 25 lashes. I'm not saying that should happen today, but it made people think. Because the crowd came out to see you. The crowd knew you live in the communities. When somebody stole, what a big thing they used to do, like everybody knew that who that person was. So there are some prescriptions that are local. People should not always turn to donors for money. Because remember, nothing is free. That man or that country is bringing their money to you. They want something from you. So why don't we turn to ourselves, to our local, go to our history? Our history is not too far ago, 40, 50 years ago. And re-implement some of those things and get the results now that you want. Yeah, demonstrating has its place. But demonstration is not the end all or be all. We know the problem. We've been knowing the problem for years. Our former vice president's son was on drugs in Liberia. It was no hidden thing. She struggles with drug use in her family. As vice president, what happened? How was she able to affect change in that area? Some may argue she wasn't able to affect change because other people here were in the drug business. Go look at the history from the U.S. when they got arrested with their friend, and that whole story. Right? Let's call a spade a spade. Let's call a spade a spade.
Oh, you got me in both trouble.
I don't care. Let's call a spade a spade. That's my point. We can't be hiding from the fact. Now he didn't get arrested for it. Maybe phone calls were made, right? But the fact is, birds of the same wing fly together. Birds of the same wing fly together.
So meaning, you can respond to that in our banking tariff. We do not have prevention measures and treatment, some operational protocols in place to address this thing. Why are we not doing it? Where's the House Committee? Where is the authority at the Ministry of Health? Where is
what would the House Committee do? What would the House Committee do?
No, the fundings. There must be fundings. Okay. That's what I'm talking. They have now. If the policy, don't get me wrong, the president. Let me see here. Okay, Cummings is here. The president. Cummings. Good evening. It's good to have you.
Good evening, sir. How are you? Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, Cummings.
Yeah. I saw how the liberal treated you because you were not speaking his language. He decided, Reverend, and the other Reverend on the other side, your colleague were there. They didn't do anything. I was listening. Because you just didn't agree, you were giving an honest opinion. The liberal on purpose deliberately sanctioned your boy. That's their game plan on this network with Terry and the other people. They're doing everything to liberalize this network to make it of their own, and I know Sir going to be here, but we will be here. He blocked me from participating in his program. I called Terry and complained. Terry said I should pray. Is that something that I should pray for? Come on. Is that something I should pray for? But on a serious note, the fundings aspect.
You not never block the man of God. We can see him.
Well, so maybe
he'll come back. He'll come back. He probably got a phone call.
He just turned his camera off. He's gonna do something. So I mean, this is it's painful. It's painful, and the damage it's causing to the generation, to the society is very huge. And it has to be addressed. Some real radical changes, decisions, laws must be put into place for these people who are chief facilitator to this thing, because that's what they're doing. Look at the ministry. There are a lot of players involved. The Ministry of Education. You have a high school here. Somebody was telling me, but I want to make sure to verify that. I don't know what sort of school they get. I don't know. I say, are you sure? They call it school, but I want to talk to people from our school. I don't just want to put information out there. But you have a school right here, then next to in the proximity, less than a mile, then you get some kind of ghetto there. You have elementary school. So people, the society has been exposed, and it is government that should take the responsibility to do anything possible they can to minimize it. All governments, nothing much has been done. I can remember, just there for people to just, those people who used to get high, it used to be like a hating thing. But nowadays, 17-year-old, 16-year-old, everybody see that they get some kind of artificial sleeping high now because they're taking in something, and it's reachable anytime, anywhere, school, around churches. I mean, just no control. That is dangerous. So some of these things, the government needs to take a very huge stand. Let me bring Cummings in this here. Cummings, good evening. Good to have you here.
Good evening. So I think my network is kind of breaking in, but I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm hearing you. It's much better. I can hear you. So they're trying to fight you so you can't be heard here. But when I'm on people voices, everybody got to speak here. Look, and I hear you. You've been in this business and you are still in this business here. All this started with the millions of dollars that were invested into the past to address some of these addictions, some of these issues, perhaps to have a treatment center, prevention, have more clinicians, psychologists, and different support. We don't know how far we stopped and how far we have gone with this whole thing here. Here we are now. People getting in the streets, say no, it's just insufficient. You say no, but there are people who are bringing in it. The policymakers have their part to play. Are they ready to make that ultimate sacrifice to put this thing to an end or to minimize it? Because it will never come to an end. It will never come to an end. I don't care what we do. We just have to fight it. Or is it only Morovia we are talking about? Where becomes the rest of the other 15 political subdivision? Where is the awareness? People needs to be sent out to create this sort of massive public awareness. Let me hear you.
Thank you, Mr. So you see, the I'm going to say something tonight. The crew people has a saying that then and a kaji, a man and a beji. What is in the dark eye is also in the eyes of the crane. From the embryo stages after the war, if we have, I mean, the policy makers those days have put into place a kind of program with people who are knowledgeable on dealing with this issue of the proliferation of drugs, we won't have people in the street saying enough is enough. That for me, I don't subscribe to those kind of things. I don't, because one minute we get in the street, we chant slogans, enough is enough. The next minute, it go on an increase. And some of the people that I saw chanting the cause or saying that say no to drugs were around yesterday when we were talking about the proliferation of the ghettos, that CID officers were allegedly involved, NSA officers, immigration officers, that our borders were porous, that there was a need to take a holistic approach. But they sat down. 20 years ago, 6 years, 12 years, people sat down, Mr. So, and then nothing, no publicity, no awareness, nothing. And today, you see the pandemic now, you see the danger. It's not only in Montserrat. 3 years ago, Front Page Africa, one of their journalists did an exclusive with group of guys in a ghetto in Kakata. And they asked the question, how many people come here a day? The guy said in a month time, over 1,005 will pass through that ghetto. They come from different counties. So why not today? When you had the opportunity, when we have all of the international organizations or NGOs in the country, when we had the opportunity to do it 12 years before the 6 years, we did nothing at all. So we hope and pray to see whether after this protest, I saw the group meeting the president, and I look in the room, I just smile. I just look in the room, those who went to meet the president. For me, it was laughable because you were around yesterday. Most of those people that were sitting in the room, some of them were around yesterday when we were talking, and they did nothing. And, you know, to see mothers saying, yes, I know it hurt, but let me take you back a little bit, Mr. Soul. When Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf won, the proliferation of ghettos in our country was around Babla, was around the Ministry of Education, was around opposite, what you call it, convent, St. Teresa Convent. Those dilapidated buildings were used for the proliferation of drugs and ghetto. Honor Education in the night was a place, a den for prostitution. We have Vaba Giffer. We have Olubenki King. We have Councillor Francis Johnson Morris. And to name them. And these were women who we were speaking to. We championed the cause. They did nothing. And today you see some of them in the street. Say, enough is enough. That's deception for me. It's highly deceptive. Then the church too, I saw some pastors. I mean, the only person I could see at the time, those days, who were talking that this thing will be a serious epidemic tomorrow was Milton Bly. 99% of the pastors, from the Liberian Council of Churches to the prophetic call to ministers to the folk gospel ministers, nobody was saying anything. But today is on an increase now. Whether it's been politicized, What are people trying to use it to, to portray an image for themselves, like you alluded to when I was listening to you? How can a senator build a little small structure and say he's providing a rehab for a group of young people who are affected with drugs? Do you have the kind of technicians needed there? Do the people understand what treatment need to be given to those people? So, my brother, we wait and see what the tax force will do. What will be the outcome of this? What will be the media awareness? What will be the kind of publicity, a dramatized monologue, and these different things? Clarence can bear me witness. When there was an outbreak of cholera in Grand Bassa, 1994, 95, MSF France was finding it difficult to deal with the IDPs. We had to do something in the local vernacular because that's the only way. Most of the people were from compound number 1, number 2, number 3. But Mr. So nothing in terms of media publicity, nothing. I just think we just, it's a storm like December 1st, where they celebrate War Aids Day. As soon as War Aids Day is over, you go to the NSCP, zero best used to be. There was no
Mr.
Yes,
So, but who is heading the tax force team that the woman set up? Do you know the head of the tax force?
You're supposed to be telling us. You are the insider. You don't come to
insider.
Yeah.
Mr. Zango, that mean, Mr. Zango, that the insider, that mean.
Except I checked out, I don't know who said.
Yeah, I don't know that. And you're quite correct. So, Zango, coming.
Yeah, let me jump in a little bit. I think you guys recall I said that all politics is local, right? The issue of drug affects the youth population greater than it affects the older generation. A lot of the persons that Mr. Cummings just mentioned are part of the older generation. The younger generation doesn't relate to them. One of the persons who was
a serious thing you just said.
Hold on. One of the persons who was a drug dealer in Monrovia, everybody knew about was Takun J. And Takun J was popular. He was so popular, he had the audacity to run for the House of Representatives. He was being protected by the police back then. I don't know about how he is today. So the youth gravitated to people like that. So you can have all these quote-unquote eminent citizens. My brother, when we were small, you think we listened to the puppet, and we didn't. The people who we found attractive, the people who had an impact on us, were the people who were singing for Moga Band, if you're old enough to remember that. So we need to find people in that area that will have the greater impact. And I come back to this, we need to have stringent laws that if you found to be involved in drug use, whether you are in the sale, the distribution, or whatever, there should be some serious punishment granted to you. And should not be allowed to participate in the political sphere in terms of running for office. Now, I'm saying things that are facts. These are not things that we didn't know. Those are all around where we know them. By the way, next question.
Well, you just named one, and one of them is Azango. One of them was Alaminso Ines. She was a representative from where this guy was running. Where his name? He used to be a Maritime, but then took over from Alamisa Ines. Oh man, George Solomon, rather. Solomon George. She was representative over there. Another person who became a representative was Dave Kuman from the township of Gardner-City, was a notorious drug dealer, but he was in the House of Representatives.
There you go. We can go on and on. So let's stop pretending that. Hold on, Terry. Let's stop pretending that what drug dealers are, they live among us. They are the most effective provocateur of this whole situation. Drop your books down where you are. You standing in the midst of it. Stop looking for an international solution. Go ahead.
So that's a problem, because when these people are policy maker, how can they go against that? So Terry, that's a serious challenge.
Well, Mr. So this is why I asked for the committee, who chairing the committee so far. Because some of the names I'm seeing here and the people are the same very people that are slow to affect change in the drug stuff. So I don't know how they're gonna do it because it's just the same people that I'm seeing here that the president is using for the whole drug that they're planning to fight against. And I don't see nothing here planning for for publicity for the media to supply the media with information and to support them with financial stuff so that they can get these things rolling. So I just think that this whole thing is another a mirage. They're just going to set up another mirage and just a bluff because yeah, it says that
So
you know.
who is creating this mirage?
Well, I would want to blame the administration, the president, because multi-sectoral steering committee on drugs and substance abuse, President Joseph Yema Burger, announced the national anti-drugs. So the steering committee leadership, the Ministry of Health chairs the committee with the Ministry of Justice acting as co-chair. So the Ministry of Health chairing the committee with the Ministry of Justice acting as co-chair. Are these not the same people that are involved with the same type of drug people and things that have led to us protesting today? Are these all these people not part of the whole process that get us to us protesting against the government for the government to bring us for the government to fight against drugs? Is this
I,
not the same
I'm,
strategy that we design and put in a
I'm,
professional way?
I'm happy that you are coming on our side when we're talking this
No,
thing here. And I hope you will not change, you will not go into a reverse situation where your liberal come. That's why it is. You see, one of the things America is successful is this, they know criminals. They're not everybody that to do criminal and just create some hype on them and just put you away. They bring you, they absorb you into the system. Why? Because they want to get all of the intelligence, because they know that you know perhaps where these things coming from, the root causes and all of the loopholes and all of that. So they absorb some of these people and they use them as a covert or whatever I know to go after that. So then that's where the real money needs to come in. That's where the government needs to be strategic in fight against this. Not the people that sit down, what will be answering year to the president when they move from there, they turn their back. Go into some of these ghettos, some of these people that you know that are involved. Those are people that you can call in. Hey,
yeah, I thought.
you are part of you will know you are part of this here. But that's not the point now. We're looking at the big scale on the holistic part. You don't
But
have
Mr.
to
So,
walk in the public there. And those are the people will lead the way, how these things infiltrate, how these things come, and some of those people. But they will not do it. And that's what happens if you do not get to the real people and you just decide to pick people who will say, yeah, the problem will not be solved because it will be a salad dressing issue. Go to the
I
real
thought.
people in the street who are the user, who are the facilitator. Bring into them, yeah, we get you here because we want you to help us to get it. And not to just be there and say you're going to like that in you. No. Get them to a convincing point. If the government did that, you'll be successful because they will tell you, say, in Sano, this is our God are there. In Grand there, this is the person that there. But what I say, so person, he or she is women, everybody involved now. Women are all doing it. Everybody. It's poverty, it's quick money. You get it, you do one or two things quick, you get enough money.
Mr. So, I myself here know people that sell drugs in Liberia. The problem here, like what you guys are saying, everybody over there that the paper calling that you saw going around, they are all people that are aware. But I really thought the president
So why the paper calling,
would
if the
have
paper is aware,
coming
why are
up.
you calling those people back?
I really thought the president would have gone for civil societies organization. Did not think he would have even be thinking, even though they could come under the health ministry or so, but I really thought he would have bring in a robust team that is not part of the government because all these people are people that are saying yes, sir, to the president. Then you are going to go for the civil society organizations, use the fourth estate, the press, to do publicity and all of that, because you cannot fight drugs without giving we're all doing publicity. You cannot fight drugs. We're all using people that are not part of the government who will be robust in fighting drugs. Because, like, look at here, committee member. The committee member include representatives from the Ministry of Youth and Sport, Ministry of Gender, Children, Social Protection, Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. Is not the same Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency that is fighting against drugs?
The two bosses there today, I mean, this is just
These are
crazy,
the people.
man.
These are the people that is listed on this task force. How you call it, multi-sectoral steering committee on drugs and substance abuse, formulated by the president. So I really do not understand how they're going to fight, because these people here that I'm looking at, they are not drugs oriented. They are not people that you can trust with this to enforce this particular radical change. It's not going to work.
Meaning the president is wrong in that judgment, correct?
Yeah, I think the advice, or whoever that is advising the president, I don't know how they're going to.
Should the president
I really don't know how they're going to use this.
Let me be honest here. Should this president be advised on these things here? He comes with a vast experience. He managed a group of 70 Hexagon as vice president. He was vice president Helen Johnson Sirleaf when millions of dollars were invested into the rehabilitation process. We don't know how far, how many persons were benefited, how far is stopped. The CDC government came. We don't know whether they pick it up. He came with the agenda, and drugs was one of the huge things we saw him showing his left or right arm. They were taking drug tests and all of, yeah, because these things, it got to stop. The hypocrisy is at the.
At least he took the drug test.
I don't want to hear that at least. And what happened after that?
Well, what happened after that was that
how many person needed help from that?
I do agree with you that he should have made sure, just how he made sure that everybody in your government was, they declared an asset. He should have made sure that all his cabinet. I think that should have been the first approach. Let me say this. For something. Everybody take the drug test.
Let me say that there are certain things this president is doing. Samuel Doe will not allow it. Charles Taylor will not allow it. People feel they got him to be where he is. The president or Mendes are not being respected. You told people to declare asset within 15 days. After that, you now do the how many more now today? There are some people nothing. So you have people making careless. Some of these things were happening in the CDC government. You have this other idiot. I'm sorry to say, but I have to say this guy here writing this kind of tweet. Who is the director general of the Liberian Broadcasting Corporation, a state-owned radio station? That's why they have a commercial department. Kumi is no better than that. He is unable to raise money to keep the network going, but he sat down there still. He acting crazy, facts versus fiction. He's not going to cover. And this tweet up to this time. So who authorizing? The Minister of Information is the chair of the board of directors of EFBC. And you're telling us government now is fighting drugs. Then you say if they not pay you, you will not interpret government message. This is what we are seeing, the misplacement and this kind of crazy thing going. All the government officials going to class reloaded. I don't know when that boss will get back. They're not having these conversations on the State Broadcasting Corporation so that people will know what government is doing. No vernaculars program, nothing going on. You're not connecting with the local communities radio station to create people vernacular, commercials, the danger, those jingle, nothing happening. But he have the guts to write that kind of thing. If they not pay there, nothing. They will not do anything. Period. And up to this time, does this guy he knows what the ELBC represents? Now, how can you expect private? Yeah, come in 1 second. You expect private radio station to do that when he should lead the way forward? When he should connect with these local radio stations to get government message. But here he is, and the old man, he still sit down there. We're still waiting until the train derail before we take action. That's how this is how bad things are. This guy, I don't understand. I don't understand. So how the government message going to go? You who are the government 100% subsidize the state broadcasting corporation. His position is an equivalent position as a cabinet minister, and you coming to tell us you can't do this thing. Who the hell he is? Why people think that they're just above the law and nobody take decision? And you think you just want to go down to the ordinary person in the street to obey it? Because they look at the leaders. The leader should be example of having good things done. So if the leader violates, the ordinary people, they go astray and they also challenge and violate. Cummins.
You know, I just want to go back to what Mr. Zango said earlier on. You need to bring in young people who are familiar with the terrain, who can relate to their friends, who know the environment to be part of that committee. Whether you're going to get the Liberian Musician Association apart, the Liberian Council of Churches, the Wheelbarrow Boys, Yano Boys Association, get everybody involved. But like you said, look, I mean, I just looking at the picture, I watched the video today. We just in the same cycle. It's just going to revolve around the same thing. Nothing going to happen. You know, in our country, if you follow, you've been in the media, if you follow in terms of publicity from government, you don't get that kind of awareness at all. How to disseminate the information to the people, how to get them involved. You don't see it. In fact, they always have the wrong messengers carrying the message, people who cannot even connect. And Mr. Right. So you see the same thing with the political parties. The same thing, opposition political parties, the messengers, the way they disseminate information, the way they try to connect with people is just out of line. There's no way. So for us to deal with this issue, you're talking about maybe it's going to drag to where people will start to politicize it for 2029. Trust me, it's going to be the argument, it's going to be somebody debate for 2029. And we'll grab a few group of young people, put money in the pocket. Now, you're not only just talking about Montserrado and its environment. You're talking about all the counties. The thing is as bad in the southeast now as compared to Montserrado. It's all over. And coming to the issue of ERBC, I said it here yesterday. I think me and Terry were going back and forth with something. Whenever you put the wrong people who don't understand the rudiments of communication or don't know their function, I won't go there with Terry if he is schooled in a particular area. I'm going to work with him as a team. The brother don't even know that Jeremy Lpr is the board chair. And government subsidy go to ELBC. It's up to him, who is the director general, to formulate programs and ideas. Exactly. Because the lifeblood of any media institution is sales. When he contacted me, he said, somebody said you did some work for ELBC. I said, yes, but they didn't pay all my money. And I waved it back to them because my mother worked for ELBC for 14 years. So I told the director general then, I said, that's my gift to ELBC. If you want more, you'll come back and bring some money. We'll do it. But the guys are not innovative. So everything they try to do is to score a political point. You and myself from the media, the only institution that would do a blackout on any government institution, a private media institution, not ELBC. Not ELBC. So it's like we have people who we thought will know better when they get there. When you say ELBC will not be the same, this is the first time. I'm an ELBC baby, okay? My mom had me when she was at ELBC. So I'm an ELBC baby. I kind of know ELBC like that. Though I never worked for ELBC, but know ELBC like that. I called my old mom and I was asking her, she said, no, I never, all my years at ELBC, this is my first time hearing it. I work with so many director generals there. This is my first time. So Terry, I don't know where people going with the train. Is the train trying to rescue from the back or the front?
The train have already rescued man ago. What we're doing now, we only fixing.
You're fixing.
We're trying to resuscitate. We're trying to resuscitate those who we have rescued. But not everybody know what. Not everybody know how to resuscitate the victim. So,
you know, that's the I forgot the name of the gentleman. One second, so I forgot the name of the gentleman who said it, who's famous for this word. He said, when you bypass your respect, you meet over your disgrace. I don't think a lot of people respect the president of Popular Liberia.
They don't.
I don't think and at some point, Mr. President, you have to put your foot down. You have to be, in order to be a memorable, great president, a president of this generation, you have to set the standard. You have to. There can be no ambiguity in what you say. None in your action. No confusion. When you have some chicken soup person with 4 associate degrees trying to figure a way, who got kicked out of one administration, came to America, we all know the struggle you're going through in the place here, and you gave him an opportunity, he shouldn't go beyond your means of information. I'm not from the media, but since it's come up, I guess if it were that come on, everybody will have it. So like you said, like Mr. Cummings said, he EPC bureau. I'm a Minister of Education bureau. You know, the function of government is there to service of the people. It's not about your self-aggrandizement or your ego. That's not what it is. But when you by respect, you will meet over your disgrace.
All we're saying here is we want government to succeed. There any citizen on planet Earth who has some sort of evil plan against their country for government to fail, I don't know what you up for to achieve. But there are some things we just have to put it, and that's what this president needs to do. Because if you allow these people, yesterday we frowned on these things, and we must frown on them today if it is happening. And that's just about it. I don't know what went through his head. Part of that is more or less being partisan is more important than getting the people to do. So it looks like you have to be a partisan, and that meets all of the requirement. Now, that kind of tweet you sent out there, what does it tell the international community? Come on, you look at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Let's assume it's a Ghana station. Your primary goal there, you are the hub of information from that country. ERBC is almost like a Associated Press, Cummings, right? It's almost like a
it's Liberia's PBS.
PBS, all of that. Different international network cable wire, they must be able to quote the state broadcasting corporation. This is what the president is doing. This is what I'm doing. And when you, the director general, appointed position, you are the direct representative of a communication hub, local radio, and all of that program. And then you come out to say, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that because they don't give you money. So what are you doing there? You're there as a furniture. You can't design the program. You're not able to go to MPA, Lpr-Tv to do some promotional commercial things so that it will sponsor program. Even with this whole drugs thing here, if you take the lead
can make quick money from this drug thing.
The lead to come out, a fight against drugs. You get how many trial we get in Liberia now? I don't know what are the trial going to get a how thing going, you know, and people start doing some commercials, jingle.
So we don't have 16 anymore though.
Because every night and then you go to Grand Gida, you call
18, you'll get Mendy, you'll get Mandingo.
No, besides that,
the last time I checked, the people from Sando, the Sapo people said they want that to be recognized.
So yeah, why?
Even the Fula people too. The Fula said they want.
Yeah, you know, this is serious. And that's why communication, there are some people learn by visual, there are some people learn by auditory, so different forms. If you go to each county that get 10 different section people, when you get people, when they start doing commercial, it's like a whole 1 hour and
Yeah,
just give you a
yeah,
little bit
yeah.
a succinct danger. And the schools has to be involved. You carry it or projector and all of that. Show images, video, the reactions, what happens if one uses drugs and all of that. If you start doing that, guess what? It's not just on the government, the UNICEF, because the international community, they pump a lot of money. But you sit down, you pump your jaw off, 5 versus patient. You same thing you talk about Joy, where you talking about Joseph Boyka, and they take you, they carry you there and writing that kind of crazy thing. And he still sits there and nobody is saying anything, nobody addressing it. It just shows to us that this president, he's unwilling to take decision. And I say he's slow, but he can't tell. We almost die before he act. So who gonna that
You know,
you expect school to be the one to do the work of the government? You expect how do you call it, say ABC one or whatever? When EFBC should be able to go to those media, hey, you need to have 30 minutes, you need to have 1 hour airtime from government station on this. And let's see whether they will not do it. But you're making plan with everybody.
And why he
lack
had
of
to even post
innovation,
that thing? Why he went to Facebook? You a
lack of
minister. Why you go? Why you gonna
Mr.
post
So
your thing
it's
on
lack
Facebook?
of innovation. Like you and myself know that the lifeblood of any media institution is sales. I give you one typical example. My good friend and big brother and a mentor, the late Harry Reid. There was a situation with the Zakin oil deal. I was sitting home and I called Mr. Greer. I said, do you know that we can do a documentary on LPRC to alleviate the negative speculation that this institution is being run only by you? He said, Jerome, where are you? I said, I'm home. He said, come to my office. It was Saturday. I remember Yombly was at work at that time, now Senator Kanga Lawrence. And I went in his office, we talked. He said, you sure this thing can work? I said, look, let's do a documentary on LPRC. And we did that documentary. I was working for a private media institution owned by Benin Ayure at the time. And we made some good cash. My staff took pay. Mr. Ayure gave them 2 months' salary in 1 day, and then I turned around and gave them another salary. So they took pay in 1 day, they got 3 months' salary. So, Mr. So, these guys who are now running media institution, what constitutes news for them is between the executive mansion, the Capitol building, and political parties. So their mind is clustered, no innovation. He could make a lot of money for EFBC, but the brother is busy scoring political points. That's why I was telling my brother Terry yesterday. Say, oh, the class really low on so many local radio stations. I said, Terry, I've been in radio for long. Let's see the strength of those little small radio stations. Some of them not even 500, they're not even 1,000 kilowatts. And 2, what is the strength of those radio stations? These guys could go to EFBC and then use EFBC to disseminate their information. But if they sit to one place, so it's like they too now buttressing the effort of EFBC to make money. So it's just like they don't understand what they need to do. So we find ourselves at a serious crossroad, my brother. So Fagon, he know what to do. He just kind of maybe confused, they're fussing and fighting among themselves. It's just a clear indication that the center can't hold, because we thought these guys would be innovative. We thought they would be creative. No, we're going 2 years and we can't see the innovation. We can't see the creativity. When we get to 2027 before.
But Mr. Fagon, you see, one of the things, man of God, that I'm defending, Liberia is not just like any other country that you can something. And besides, given the fact that we are coming to a modern age wherein technology is now, we got Facebook. Oh, no, but I'm sorry, we have Facebook, but many people didn't know the importance of social media. Now, in our dispensation, social media have exposed the world to a lot of things. So a lot of people gravitate to Facebook. They like these kind of programs that we're having. They have direct access to interact. Even in America, you have senators, they got their own Facebook page or they got their own uh, podcast. They have podcasts and publish it. But so I don't have a problem with ministers getting on there. I understand you from the journalistic perspective. That is your area. I'm not going to challenge it. But based upon the society that we living in, Liberia, nothing is done professionally in most areas and most time. So as it comes, that how people address it. These guys progress on that network because of the propaganda of pulling in from Spoon TV. I agree. Union Fagon could say, okay, let's call you guys here. And you guys, on a weekly basis, one minister from come and explain and give us some money, which is fine. And for me, I don't have a problem with that. That is the way it should be because I don't know about media networking. But from what I observed, these guys have been able to curtail the propaganda in the media against the government from the time they went on Class Reloaded.
You think so? Let me
I think they are
something.
making some gain.
Modern journalism is good, but the traditional ethics of journalism, you can't uproot that. I understand. I'm on Twitter. I build online radio and TV as my side hustle. So I understand what you're talking about. And when you go to some of these different media outlets, they're not there. So use that money. Let's build ERBC. Let's bring it up to standard. Even most of those institutions, go to Public Works website. Do they have a good website that is mobile friendly? No. Let's go to the Justice Ministry. They don't have all of these things.
I agree, but my point here, let's take, for example, let's go back in time. Let's look at how Joseph Boga became president. What was the media instrument that was used to effectuate the change in the leadership that we have today?
Tell us.
Facebook, social media.
Yeah. Which specific? Let's say which specific network?
It was Spoon TV, but it was social media.
Why did this connect with Spoon now?
But I don't, Mr. So I don't have to say that.
No, I don't know.
Say it. Why?
No.
Well, so many factors. So many factors, Mr. Zango.
Let me tell you.
Spoon TV, the guy hosts the show. Because take for example, now Center is not in Liberia. Center ran the station from in America, but the most reach was from the social media platform that he established. And guess what? They raised over 700,000 from Facebook, diaspora Liberian, to bring a regime change. Now, you won the elections, you turn against the government for whatever reason. Some people say rest this, that, all the kind of thing. 360.
So
you expected the government to continue to go there
Terry, you are giving us half meal, and that's just in as much stand on with all I think. What the government, if you know why you did, they knew it, his help. Do you think honestly you were doing it? And that's what I'm saying. These hypocrites, those sycophants, are talking there for people. They're not talking for anything. They're talking there for themselves. Because to everything there must be an end game. There must be a political reward. There must be that political dividend. I don't know what was the conversation, whatever it is. But if Joseph Boyka and the Unity Party continues on this path, I can for sure tell you, Stanton has the capacity to destroy them, and they will have themselves to be blamed. It was then you were opposition, so you needed a side. Now you must focus on governance. If he's still doing that, I don't know whether he's the one that kicked them out, but to see Mo Ali and all of those people, and everybody that has migrated to that, they're doing it to themselves. So what happened now, why you see happening now is like a bone in the throat of a dog. They're not able to swallow it. They can't put it out. They can't close their own network. CDC, they didn't do it. So if they do it now, Then the public will go on the side of Spoon Network. Oh, yesterday when Spoon was doing it to CDC, it was good, but now they're doing it to all. Why they left is lack of political tolerance. They abandon it because they do not like what he's doing, what he's saying. But they must have a representative who will also counteract or defend government position. But they're all going to class reload, whatever it is. Do you think they can question government judgment? Have you seen that? But they're showing all kinds of Mickey Martin there. Patrick Hunter, who is LTA. Hold on 1 second, you can. Has he seen that? Has he seen created a program where how telecommunication will be enhanced, what they need to do, this and that? But all they are doing now is pressing. With their
That is why, Mr. So,
they will not
that
do
is
it.
why civil society organizations, including the Fourth Estate, they have a mandate to challenge the government on this. If they feel that they are being disconnected from the national cake and the national affairs, they got a right to challenge it. The Fourth Estate is part of the government. They have the right to challenge it. Civil society have the right to challenge the government and say, look, this is unfair. And they will have a point. So why are they not doing it?
Before we go, let me tell you, GOL is seriously worried about what Spoon is doing because Spoon is in their flesh. The reason
that is why they're fighting back.
Is that not good fighting? Your government should not be fighting back. The government should be getting her agenda. You can't
in
keep
Liberia. You don't fight back, you will lose elections.
You see that?
You
That's a
don't fight
problem.
back, you will lose elections. Liberia is not America. Liberia is not like any other professional country. Take for example, look at the proportion of news that come out of Liberia. Somebody that will go in the morning and say, the government have put tariff on all churches. They put tariff on all the malls. Then they just left it. People start running with that propaganda. You yourself on the network can say that the reason why CDC fell was because they never had a good media communicator.
Yeah, what I'm talking about is to have authority like the Ministry of Information, the ERBC, the presidential spokesperson. The president came for the conference here, right? Was there any conversation with the international media on the outcome? Did we know what happened? No. Anybody ever faced the international, the media, the president, the sources of the president? When you hear when you live from your country, you deploy that type of communication because you want to get some sort of attraction. Anybody did that? No. That's what we are saying.
But tell you, man, if they sit down and allow the government to play them like that, they will lose.
Who man?
The media, the Fourth Estate.
No, Terry.
I'm done.
Terry, men of God. Here is the place that you need to understand this thing, right? The government officials to say they will sit to a particular place and disseminate information that will suit them. How do you alleviate the public speculation if you are not going to find time? Come to LPR. Find that,
I do agree with that.
Two leaders are enjoying Liberia. Charles Taylor and Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. When it comes to the media, that the two people, all these opposition, I was sharing a story with you. I worked for one of the opposition presidential candidate. Briefly, I was in his camp. And I was giving them advice. I said, look, you guys think you're too sophisticated in the diaspora. The way media propaganda work in Liberia, if you don't play like this, you'll sit right in America and have an election here and win in America, but you can't win in Liberia. The action is on the ground. But if you just leave, like because Spoon, Witherspoon, Stanton is doing something, and so we got to counter-react, you lost the fight.
Individual. Are you kidding me?
You lost the fight because you gave in the man more leverage over you. I give you one example. My former boss, Benina, was unsanctioned for 10 years. 10 years, we were not engaged in the government in negative propaganda. I was moving in the dark, hustling my way. Bum, I hit the UN. I got contract with the UN. He said, Gerard, how? I said, Chief, you told all you would stand down, stand down. The next thing before he make up his mouth, boom, I got government contract. I started doing contract with the government. He said, how? I said, stand down. We know this thing. Let us handle it this way. So for 10 years, Benny and I was not talking anything. We were doing the propaganda, doing the heavy lifting, talking, creating positive programs, promoting the image of the institution he had. Before I left the country, you were either traveling ban and access free. I was getting the traditional leaders involved, the elders, the Zoes. I was doing programs with them, going to the street, talking to the marketers. When Banking Moon was going to Liberia, the late Kofi Annan took the Security Council to tax for continuously placing individual Liberians on traveling ban and access free.
Okay,
Terry,
guys.
you got to be
But
a
man of
hustler.
God,
You got to know your way. But they look at one man.
But take for
They look at
example,
one man. I come in. They look at one man. One man started on Benin at Tom Kamara. When I fired by
thank you.
Tom Kamara, the late Tom Kamara fired. I fired by he fired. When the PUL called us, the man said he's not a member of the PUL. Myself too, I said, okay, being a member of the PUL does not control me. The man said, we're running a rebel institution. So I'll fire back.
So
but you do agree, Mr.
Minister
So can I just say that
it will cool down.
you
But
agree, you do agree that Tom Kamara was I know he's a media practitioner, even though he died, may peace be to his ashes, but he was one of the guys that really fought for Madame Shirley because the government was pumping him. So he was also fighting against front page. Ranesier. So he was Madame Shirley has certain guys that she could put in the media as anti-course against other opposing forces.
Can best
stability. Look, even Helen, and you rightfully say Helen did that. The late representative for Sando, where his name, Numbers Law. Number was a bone thorn in the flesh of Helen Johnson Sirleaf, and that's how he was recruited. And what Joy don't understand to say I'm a joker, well, you must be a joker because you don't like people to tell you. I'm telling you, I was in Tallahassee in the court when Stanton Weatherspoon. The reason you see Stanton out here today, and we have some of those documents, is because the sense of his defense team. She said, and I quote, if Stanton had gone to jail, Liberia would have plunged into civil war because he was unearthing the corruption and the government didn't like that. That's one of the reasons why you see Stanton is doing that. It's a voluntary to our community service. That's why it's keeping up. So if you think what Stanton is saying, it doesn't make sense, well, so be it, because this is how you behave. If it doesn't go your way and you think that it is. But what Stanton is doing 24/7 from day to day is the community service that he's doing, and that was justified. It was over 100 audios. That was unbelievable that were produced in the court. Voice messages, email from Liberia, Europe, all over the world, that they were calling on a God judge not to allow this guy
social media
to go in jail. Those things were presented and based on that judgment. And you think the judge are going to later to say, oh, that yeah, because if there's something to go to jail. And they even went as far that his program, how you call it, that Sunday, the first one Sunday program, God Can Bless Anybody, the intervention to different things.
Something with the CEO.
Yeah, all of those things, they pay attention. So you think they're not going to pay attention right now? So if you don't want to believe it, we can be it. But there is no government on planet Earth that you can fight the media and you succeed. If you don't believe it, try it. You can't close him down.
100%,
when you close the station down, he's in the cyberspace. So then the judgment of the people now, they will end up fighting battle. You think Stanton was doing what he was doing for Joseph Biker is free? Of course, he needed a political reward. You think I'm going to sit down and talk for somebody and post so in my throat? I beg you. I'm not going to do that. After those people want to get there, nobody does do things for free. They all have
the one thing they leave,
it's not a popular relation. It's not a propaganda. Exactly.
But Mr. So I know you want to leave, right? You're about to leave.
Yeah, go ahead quickly, then we can make our
there's something that is trending on the internet that happened today, right? Sir Joseph said some things, and if you have time, maybe next week we can look at it.
We will talk about it.
I think it's
we'll
deceptive.
I know, sir, I know the Waterloo boy very well. When sir, I was in my state here, I'm not going to put my life on the line. Everything he said, 100%. But Sir Joseph, I said that before. Sir Joseph is a very humble man. That Gissy boy is a very humble man. If Akara Grace said where it was George Weah needed Sir Joseph more than that. Let me just tell you, maybe he didn't say A because we were in Waterloo. When Lone Star went to play in Liberia, their boss broke down the church that he affiliates with. Sir, he's a football, he's a big army man. Sir Joseph went and chartered a bus and took Lone Star team to Mami Yoko Hotel. Before George Weah could finish doing the arrangement, before he could get there to the player, they said, oh, the team left. But you wonder, how can? So, oh, there's a guy came here. When he went back, he met those things. That house, Sir Joseph, and anybody from Camp Waterloo that knows the story, over 300 some more thousand Liberian. Sir, get over 30 some more schools there for those missionaries. That they call something. From there, that house Sir got elected. Sir got connected when Joy Weah, after he started doing the thing, then Joy Weah called him to manage his NGO, whatever it is. But yet instead, the white people, they never say, well, when you're doing it as a political, you will still be part, but you can no longer be here. And that's how he got informed. So for Akara Gray to say, I don't think Sir Joseph needed George Weah. Without George Weah, Sir Joseph would have been elected. I can tell you. And I have video to prove that. When I went to Liberia, I've been knowing him. We all came from Camp Waterloo. And he's one of the person who just do not forget Frank. The AD, the chief of staff to Sir Joseph right now, Tio, they were in the same buffer. Not like those people who, when they get a certain position, they abandon people. I was surprised. Sir went to Peninsula. Sir, he's a small boy. When you see me, you call me big brother. I'm telling you. He's a very humble guy. I'm not saying everything 100%. That's not what I'm saying. But sir, he get more schools in Sierra Leone, and up to this time, these people still dealing with him is because of trust. But for he to say, right. I went a lot of places, and I think I will be compelled to put those videos out. That people from Liberty Party, other people were telling, when you come here to talk to or you talk about Joy Weah, will not vote for you. What that means? So where is he coming from? Sir, and CDC being disconnected. I'm surprised. For him, he keep thinking hard. To say he hold it. But if there was some other people, I can't even do that. Because he and CDC being disconnected a long time because of those bad behavior of those people. When people doing wrong, when somebody try to say it, then they put you aside. That's what they did to him. So, it is why it is. So he just doesn't know. So, that one I can say because I know
he said a lot today.
If you see those schools in Sierra Leone that he managing, those people, the white people, when they trust you, That's missionary, whatever, something in Seattle area there. So for he to say he had to leave that thing to go, he took a risk to go join. I couldn't have done that. Where you get everything and say can't do it well, that was his calling to serve the country, but it doesn't mean somebody should take advantage of it. So Joy Weah didn't miss Sir Joseph. Sir Joseph was more helpful to George Weah, I can tell you, in the Maserado election. That for sure I know. He helping. So for Akara Grade, and that's some of the thing, because you have people who are around the leader, they never like to be told the truth. They're ready to just push you because when you say A, you don't agree with A, you push it. Gentlemen, let's get it wrap up for us to have our closing. We'll continue to do that. I'm trying to reach out to some of the policy makers. Hopefully they will come, for us to have this conversation. The president's speech was wonderful. That was a very good speech on the drugs, but the finishing touches is what I'm looking at, the implementation, the execution, where the policy maker do their part. That is very key to this process. If they can't do it, then we don't know. But he is the guy and he has to push it. Let's hear you before we wrap up. Okay, Aaron, whatever, that's not true. You got your own people called Joy. We are in that's a problem. They're not true. So I just am myself in the same buffer. So that one there. Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, so in as much as I respect the journalists in Liberia, and I know that it is very good, I think the Unity Party, like what you guys are saying, I want to agree with you guys. It's just that my position is such a time, such a condition. They are making, they are doing what they can do for now. But whether if it is sustainable, it's gonna last, I doubt it. Because like you said, you can't fight the media, but they need people with the knowledge of the media. They need somebody with the ability, the exuberance, people that have these kind of a program, these kind of programming thing, to be able to engage the propaganda that is coming. Because the propaganda is actually, it have not even started. Joe Biden will start doing that thing by 2027, 2028. The Standard Waterstone platform will get bigger. But so that is what it is. I think Eugene Fagon did the wrong thing by posting that thing on Facebook. If he had grievances with his man, he could have called him. He and Geraldine Pia always together. Even on his birthday, he was with Geraldine Pia. But the problem with that guy that I noticed, once he's not in the forefront, he's not in the news, he's not in the media, he have a serious problem with that. That's the choleric nature in him that comes out every time. And that's going to get him in trouble. He's not going to stay along with that government if he continue that down the path. Because Unity Party people, when they mark you for death, you're gonna go. I don't care what you do, you're gonna go. So, and they already been having problem with him prior to him coming to join with the papi. And the position he's in is a very big position that they themselves were not even expecting for JMB to get in that position. So for him to go in this direction, I don't know what you were already thinking on. And like Mr. Cummings put it, when you don't know something, be like me and say you don't know it. Simple as that. Thank you, Mr. Su.
All right, thank you, guys. Let's hear you quickly. Comments or Mr. Zango, who wants to go?
Let me go first. I want to come back to what we started the program with, the issue of drug use. We all kind of agree tonight that the issue of drug has become very prevalent in our society and very problematic. Again, I think it's incumbent upon all of us, citizens, government officials, friends of Liberia, to kind of work cohesively and in some manner of synchronizing our efforts to be able to deal with this issue. I don't think that just talking about it, just marching, is going to solve this issue. But I think the legislature has to start the process of formulating tough laws that will kind of deter people from going down this road. I think the administrative branch has to take into consideration other avenues, not just forming rehabilitation unit or funding rehabilitation unit, but going the extra mile in terms of training, in terms of acquiring the right equipment and resources that can help curtail the importation of drugs into it. Most importantly, the citizenry of the Republic of Liberia has to take the responsibility and be mindful and take the responsibility to be our neighbors and our brothers' keeper. Because that young man or that young lady who's using drugs today is not just drugs. There are communicable diseases that also transfer with needle use from using needles or what have you. So all of these further problems that comes along with drug use has to be taken into consideration. So that's what I have to say.
Okay, comments?
Well, Mr. So thank you so much. Wonderful show, good discussion. All I can say to Liberians, we need a cohesive work, whether the church, whether the people from the mosque, the media. The issue of drugs in our country has passed beyond our own expectation. So it's going to require community efforts, the community dwellers, whether you live in the diaspora or not. I often say to people, if something affects somebody who is closer to you, a relative of yours, whatever place you live or you find yourself, it's going to affect you one way or the other, either your finances or your emotion. So we all need to join the bandwagon and talk about this issue of drugs and find way to see how we can help our people. Because the other issue with the media, the propaganda or the politics or the media, we just get things started. And I think it's going to get sour. It's going to get real bitter, especially for people, media institutions that are owned by representatives or senators in some of the counties that I know of. Is going to get better for 2027 from 2025, let's say 2026, 27, it's going to get better because almost all of them now are having media institutions. So just you can just rest assured that it's going to be a tough one for the incumbent. I hope they prepare for this battle. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely, that's it. Because the media has the ability to reconstruct your tone, and you can't ignore it. You in the process of damage control to fix it, other will be going ahead of you. That's how dangerous the media is. So when you want to jump, you better be prepared to get into a fight with a media because it's not a good thing. You will be distracted. They can't say it. You will want to fix it, and when you're fixing it, other going ahead. So what we are saying, we are giving a very honest appeal. This guy, he's one of the principal person that led the success of Joseph Boyka, like Terry said, raised that money. You know why he put that video up when after Boyka came for the visit? There's a reason he put that video up. There is a reason. It was done on purpose. Part of that is what still keeping Stanton going.
That's
because
true.
validate his argument. The 2 hours plus argument, his defense team was very, very strong. And I was surprised with all of the things that CDC, even though they didn't call them, but all of the kitchen sink was dumped on the government. That this guy was fighting against corruption. You know the country when it comes to corruption. And this is what they don't like. And they are doing everything to put him. Forget about every other thing that he did here. Was it right? Absolutely no. But that alone, protecting people rights, civil liberty, human rights, and all of those things, put them together, that's what caught them. And they made it known that when to validate what we are saying, when the guy come here, he would pay a courtesy call. You think he's stupid? He's not stupid. There's a reason he did that. And that validated his argument for which he would never, the other guy was throwing in. But why you think he's still here? After he left that place the next day, after he cried like a young baby, I wish they could allow people to carry their camera to do that video. And next day, it came back and went hard
So
on
the man cried like a young baby.
the man. I'm saying it. What's his name? Gilmore cried like a baby. I was like, what? I never had a thought. I thought you were going to take a break for like a month. But guess what? They consider that as a community service for the good of his country. And that's why when he left from Tallahassee, the next day he went on air because that's part of what he's supposed to do. So he's not just doing it. If you think, say, Stanton a joke, he can do something. Well, JMB said knows that. You know the party. Why would Mo Ali then first of all leave the network? Unless he kicked them out. I don't know all of the details, but
Mr. So the
thank God.
ego have landed. The ego is not returning.
Ah,
The
you
ego
That's
landed is
awesome
not
too.
returning.
So let me ask you a question. So are you saying that incarceration is not part of his penalty?
Huh?
Are you saying incarceration is not part
No,
of state?
what I'm saying, I know eventually for every time you stay out, there's a provision, and not for nothing. You got to spend money. But what I'm saying, this is extraordinary. These were not small charges. And
Right.
interestingly, Cummins, what surprised me was there was no local media. I'm wondering what was responsible for that. This thing went on as far as major news network. But when the sentencing time came, not a single local media, nobody was there. We were under 2. So they were surprised. Where you guys come from? Why so much? Not a single media. You ever heard after that thing? You ever heard that again? No. So we don't know how it's going to end. Eventually he might serve his time. But also there's a provision that when the court feels now is within the judgment of the presiding judge. If you feel that this man has repented for whatever long and he has served made his community services, they get around to grind and say, okay, yeah, and pay whatever restitution, and that's it. What you do when the court speaks, that's it. But I don't know.
Where can we get a copy of the order of the court?
It's very hard. You don't register as a media institution with the Federal Court of Tallahassee. And that's what we did. We sent our people to the
I think you posted that thing before, Mr.
Yeah, I think
you posted it before.
And whatever thing. So these are that confidential. They got to do your background check. They got to do this. If you're a citizen, ordinary citizen, you can get it. But why do you need it? So I don't know. So for what I'm saying,
for judgment, you need all that. I mean, the
depending
judgment.
they have it. What I mean, depending on what sort of there are certain documents we share with you, certain they will not share. Most of my man, we out of time. We're going now. I gotta go. So, my man, next time we come, we gotta go. It's we're out now. But thank God that you arrived. Thank God you arrived safely.
No, listen. 1 second, real quick.
You guys, one call.
I'm going to ask a question of you based on the trial. What I can tell you is that in the court system in the U.S., they damage. And so what damage did whatever sentence do?
Moses, I gotta go. Look, Mr. Azango.
Yeah.
My first time to see American judge, when they have this film, just forgetting the name of this term, whatever.
You're coming in Brooklyn, Mr. Segway.
Yeah.
In
the subsequent program, we gotta go now. So the guy, they fine, according to the judge, it's supposed to be like 100 and something, but when the lawyer came and said we are giving a check of 3.5 million, the way the judge said yeah in the check, not check, in the court, he said, are you talking about Liberian dollar? So then Jessica Stenderley said, no, US dollar, 3.5 million. He said, in my 20 years, I've never seen that happening before.
Wow.
3.5 million. So, my man, that's bigger. That's America too now. Poor Haitian George, you think he said, you're baba. All right. Good night, guys. Okay, folks, that's how we're going to do it. Have a pleasant evening. All we're doing, hopefully, the commission set up by the president will do what it should take in the fight against drugs to make sure our society, our generation is fully protected. Until then, my comments, I will talk to you. We need to get this going regularly if you have the time. I know you're a busy guy. Okay then. Bye-bye.